Your time is so precious, and I want 2025 to be the year that you slow down and reclaim your time. And also just to reduce stress using simple life strategies. Now, I've been experimenting with a few things over the last few years. I feel like I have some wisdom to pass on to moms and just like-minded women who are feeling time stressed. And I feel like I've kind of fell into this rhythm of not worrying about things so much, and I just want to pass on a few things that have worked for me. Whether you are a mom or whether you're not, I think you can find value in this video. The big thing here is I'm a big believer in that you have more time than you think you do. I truly believe that we give our time to the things that we want to give our time to, consciously and unconsciously. So if we are making our health our priority, then we're giving our time to our health. If we are making our family a priority, then we're giving our time to our family. Do you see what I'm saying? If you feel like all you're doing right now is wasting time, then I think you'll find a lot of value in this video. The problem most of us have with time is we aren't being intentional with it, and we aren't being conscious about how we use it. So my big hope for you is to just provide some ways for you to be conscious of your time, but also help you reclaim it and welcome a more peaceful and productive routine into your daily life. I'm hoping that these steps are super actionable and that you walk away with some new ideas that may help you and inspire you and hopefully encourage you to reclaim some of that lost time. Really just so you don't feel like you're wasting time every single day of your life. So if you're new here, I'm Katelyn. I'm big into productivity and daily routines, home rhythms, maximizing my time. And I'm also renovating an 1890s home on top of all of this. So I feel like there's a lot for me to manage. I'm also going to school and I'm a teacher full-time. So I feel like I'm juggling a lot. Not to mention that I am also a mother of 2 kids, and I have a husband and a dog who all require time and energy from me in order to have a thriving relationship. So the way I prioritize time is I don't want to be stressed. I don't want to be anxious about it. I don't want to be overwhelmed by my schedule or the things that are impacting my schedule. Because I feel like I fell into this clock-oriented trap when I was a first-time mom. I was so conscious of what time my son last ate and what time he should be eating next, and I was so clock oriented, and I just wasn't listening to what felt right to me or my own intuition as a mom. And with my daughter, I was able to just slow down and feed her when she was hungry. I knew her hunger cues. I knew that it doesn't have to be this regimented, she's eating every 4 hours and I'm not gonna feed her before that. That made me so anxious and so stressed, and it wasn't even good for my bond. I wish I could go back and just tell myself, trust your intuition, trust yourself to know what your baby needs, when they need it, and ignore all the gurus on the internet, truly. So because of that, I feel like I've had this weird relationship with time. And over the years, I've been focusing on really slowing down my days, not being stressed about the clock, but truly just being intentional with the time that I have right now. Especially when I feel like when I have free time at home, I feel like I'm trying to be very intentional about how I use that time. Because I don't want to spend all of my free time at home doing housework, cleaning up after my kids, cleaning up after my husband, cleaning up after myself. I really want guilt-free time to sit with my kids and read a book, to sit and watch them play and not feel guilty about it. Just sit down and relax while I'm at home, not on this productive wheel of trying to get things done as fast or as efficiently as possible, because I love getting things done efficiently. I love being productive, but I also need to balance that with having relaxation time or just realizing when I need rest as a person, outside of mom, outside of wife, outside of my job. But what do I truly need to come back home to myself and to rest and to feel rejuvenated, rather than feeling like I need to keep up with all of these things. So I want to be able to sit down with my kids, read them a book, play a game with them, and not feel guilty for having laundry pile up or dishes in the sink. If you feel like you've been on this time guilt train like I have, I just want this video to be an encouragement to you that you can reclaim your time and simplify your life with a few simple strategies. So this first strategy, I encourage you to become an observer of your life. Put on your scientific hat and really become an observer in your life. What you're going to pay attention to is when you have downtime in your typical day, and bring awareness to what you're doing at that time. Check in with yourself. Are you sitting there scrolling your phone? Are you sitting there reading a book? Are you sitting there wondering what you should make for dinner or what you should be doing next? Are you using your free time as a way to rest, or are you using it to feel anxious about what's upcoming? Just bring awareness to how you're using your free time. As you're checking in with yourself, you're going to check out what you're doing and maybe ask yourself why you're doing it. If you want to write this day down, I've totally done that in the past. It was so helpful, but it's not a requirement. It's just kind of like reminding ourselves to check in and see where we're at when we're using our free time. Obviously, nothing in this video is a requirement, so you do you, boo. But I want you to answer the question: how often, when you are simply sitting down, how often are you simply on your phone or social media? Because for me, that was the most convicting thing as to where my time was going. Because the first time that I did this, I was so shocked how many times I would pick up my phone and not know exactly why it was going on there. And I would find myself 20 minutes later scrolling my phone. So I began asking myself, what am I doing? Why am I doing it when I'm in my free time at home rest time? Because I brought awareness to how much I was using my phone during this free time, I started experimenting with boundaries around my devices, specifically my phone. And this is your invitation to start doing that for yourself. I'll share a few of the things that I've done. If you'd really like to be disgusted with yourself or shocked at how much time you actually spend on your phone, look at your screen time notification or your screen time tracking, because it'll tell you, and it'll tell you what areas of your phone that you are scrolling more, or what app is open the most. And that'll be pretty convicting for you, I feel like. You can check out the hours of screen time. Apple sends me one every week, and sometimes I'm totally shocked. Sometimes I'm not shocked at all. It's so insightful to see that reflected back to me, because one, it allows me to kind of reflect on my week and see how did I feel during that week based on how many hours of screen time I had. The correlation is the less amount of screen time I have, the more present I felt in my life, if that makes sense. So like typically more screen time means I was less present with my kids and was not following the boundaries that I set for myself. So after I saw how much time I was spending on certain apps, I'm pretty sure you can guess which ones they were. Instagram. I started to hold super strong boundaries around my phone use while at home. So here are the few strategies that I implemented, which I hope you use as inspiration for you, because I really want you to walk away with like actionable steps to reclaim your time. So I have set time limits on apps around my phone. So I only get 15 minutes on Instagram a day. No phone at the table during meal times, so breakfast and dinner. No phone immediately after work. So after I get in the door, I am not sitting down and just scrolling. I do not use my phone before bed. And lastly, this one I implemented probably in the last month or so, and it has transformed how my boundaries have been held for me. This last one is my phone is wired while at home. So when I say my phone is wired, that means it is plugged in on my desk in my bedroom when I'm at home. If I need it, I simply go to it. This holds me accountable during the week, specifically because I work outside of my home, and being away from my husband and kids during the day, I just crave intentional time with them when I come home in the evenings. That means I'm not carrying my phone around room to room and scrolling on a whim when I get bored or I feel like I don't have anything to do or I want to entertain myself in some way. Because me scrolling on a whim takes me outside of what is happening right in front of me. I've missed so much time already. I don't want to continually miss it. This next strategy. So I hope my talk about phone use didn't bore you to death, but honestly, it's one of the biggest things that you need to change in order for you to reclaim the time that you feel like is lost. The next strategy is a daily or weekly task strategy. So my husband and I, we have sat down and had a weekly meeting. This is typically on Sundays or really whenever we feel like we need to reconnect on what our expectations are for the week. So that's where we talk about the week, what's upcoming, what meals we're gonna make, what days he needs childcare since he works from home. And he often gives himself office days, so we have a babysitter and we just are able to use her kind of sporadically, which is actually so lovely. And she's just so flexible and it's just fantastic. Yeah, so we talk about what his snowmobile. So we talk about what his needs are during the week and then what we're going to make for dinner and who was going to make dinner that night. Our life before this meeting time was chaotic. We always felt like things were falling through the cracks and things were left for last minute, and we'd get in these little arguments and just have little frustrating moments with each other that could easily be avoided if we just would have talked about it beforehand. We just weren't always on the same page. Obviously, we had different expectations of what the other was going to do that day or that evening or in that time frame and around meals, cleanup time, and it just led to a lot of unnecessary frustration towards the other. So our meetings have solved that. We also do a family grocery shop, typically on Sundays or on the weekend at some point, because when I would simply do the grocery shopping or he would buy things that I wouldn't eat, or he would make meals that I don't like. Which I can eat a meal I don't like, that's not what I'm saying. But like for him, if he didn't see what we were buying at the grocery store, he didn't know that it was there to eat. Like I could tell him, like, this is what we have, but unless he saw it or knew where it was or that we actually bought it, he like just didn't believe that we had that item or whatever, you know? So if he doesn't see it, he won't eat it, essentially is how it works. I don't know if your husband's like that or not, but that's what happened with ours. So once he started seeing what we were buying at the grocery store, he's much better about like being aware of what is to make and what is to eat and all of those things. The next strategy goes along with a weekly rhythm as a family, and that's like having themed dinners or a seasonal meal rotation that you generate with your family. What we've been doing lately is on Sundays we'll have a candlelit dinner. We'll all sit around and we will have a candlelit dinner. Typically, it's been fish with rice and a lemon sauce, and it's been so good every single time. We just are starting to crave that routine, but also that meal. So we're able to just enjoy like a peaceful meal together as a family before we head into the week ahead. Sometimes it's busier than others, but like it is so lovely to just have that time as a family, that quality time that I crave while I'm away every single night, but also just having that on Sundays has been so relaxing. So with this strategy, you can just keep your grocery list very same week to week because you have those same dinners on a rotation that you know what to buy, when to buy it, what ingredients you're going to need, how long it takes to prepare. It's easier to just like kind of throw a meal together because you have those ingredients on hand, but also you know how long it's going to take you. It's not like you're trying to reinvent the wheel every single night and find new recipes. Plus, for us, it's already hashed out in our weekly meeting of who's going to make dinner, what we're going to make, and it just makes it so much more simplified. Because, for example, on Sunday evenings, I know that I have to soak my rice beforehand. If you haven't been soaking your rice, that's a whole other discussion that we could talk about, but I know that we're going to be having rice on Sunday, so on Saturday I'll start soaking it a good 24 hours before we actually cook our rice. And then on Sundays I also will pull out the meat that we need going into the week so that it's in the fridge, 2, it's not coming out of the freezer frozen 20 minutes before we need to eat. And I feel like it brings more flavor into the meat if it has that rest time from freezer to fridge. And then if it's still frozen when it's in the fridge, then we can just take it out and let it thaw throughout the day. It just saves us so much time, and I'm all about like reducing friction and adding ease into my day and my weekly tasks. Honestly, it just takes a few minutes to remember like, oh, we need to talk about what we're going to be having, or remind myself the things that we were hoping to eat that week and just pull it out on Sunday evening. even within, if it's just in the next couple days, because then I know on like Wednesday we're gonna have to find another meal, or we're gonna have to pull out some meat from the freezer. I'm all about reducing friction so that I can have easy flow throughout my days. Ease is really what I strive for in and around meals, and implementing simple life systems like a weekly meeting, like a seasonal meal rotation, has helped me to do that so much. And then this last one is, I really just want you to establish or really take notice of the natural rhythms already occurring in your family or in your daily life. Try to give things a process. For me, I know that bedtimes can be a little bit stressful and just time consuming, so I've just made it a process, and my kids know this process. My husband knows this process. I mean, me and my husband do it a little bit different, but like the kids know what they need to be doing when they need to be doing it. When we say, okay, it's time to get ready for bed, they know that they have to get their jammies on. We're gonna have a bedtime snack. We'll brush our teeth. We'll read a story, and then they get tucked in. 5 steps. Make it a process. I love processes, and they just help me, but they also help my kids to know what's coming next. And they can help in that process. Like, my kids know that they are going to be getting ready for bed. They always remind me, like, oh mom, we did it out of this order, or mom, we need to remember to do this. Like, they are now reminding me, which takes off the mental load of like managing it all in my head, and like communicating that to my husband. Like, him knowing that there are 5 things that happen before the kids go to bed, it adds so much ease, and I just love processes. And then I gave our morning routine something as well. I gave them a process as well. So we wake up, we brush our teeth, we eat breakfast, get dressed, in that order. And if I'm dropping the kids off, then they know that they're going to get their boots and their shoes on as well, or their jackets and their boots. Oh my gosh, their jackets and their boots on as well. Like, I honestly think that any process that has more than 5 steps is probably too much for you to remember and for your kids to remember. But honestly, I think that less is more when it comes to processes, and like, especially if you have little kids and you want them to help you, like, give them 3 things to do, and then once you get really good at those things, you can start adding in the last couple that you feel like need to be added to your routine or your rhythm. Make the rhythm yours and what works for you and your family. And last but not least, the most honorable mention, I suppose I should say, is just rid your life of excess. That could be excess activities, could be excess things, could be commitments, get-togethers. Just simplify your life. Your time is so precious, and I want 2025 to be the year that you slow down and really hone in on what's not working and fix it. Because the thing is, like, time is something that you will never get back. Time is honestly so precious, and I feel like for me, I need to be conscious of how I'm spending it so that I know that I am soaking in as much of it as I can, especially when my kids are little, and especially since I'm outside of the home most days. Your life will not simplify itself. You have to be your own time police. And if you want time to rest, you have to give it to yourself. And I'm not talking about rest in the terms of like scrolling. I'm talking about what actually rejuvenates you as a person. There's actually a Finnish word for this, and it's voimavara, but it's really what brings you inner peace, inner strength. So I hope this serves as an inspiration to you to kind of hone in on the things that you need to hone in on. Maybe it inspired you to really give yourself a time audit. You need to experiment with what will work for you. I'm just simply hoping that this provides inspiration and encouragement to you to figure it out so that you can slow down and be in your life more often. So go out, reclaim your time. If you need help with simple life strategies, I have that for you. It's in the description box below. I hope it helps. Please let me know which area that you think you can start changing something right now, and I hope you go out and reclaim your time.